Breaking news as of moments ago, the Dallas Stars have traded defenseman Matt Dumba and a second-round pick to the Pittsburgh Penguins. We'll break down the entire details of the deal next.
You're Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans. Welcome back to another episode of Locked On Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer 105 through the Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. The Dallas Stars got some more business done this afternoon. As of about an hour ago, the Stars have traded defenseman Matt Dumba and a second-round pick to the Pittsburgh Penguins in exchange for a young defenseman who we'll talk about a bit later on. We'll get into all the nitty-gritty details, but this allowed the Stars to acquire some more cap space and wiggle room. The second-round pick, of course, stings a bit. It was a hefty price, but something to be expected because the Stars needed to dump the salary of Matt Dumba. And we're going to break it all down on today's show of Locked On Stars, which is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. So this is something that Stars fans were hoping the Stars would be able to do, including myself, but they had to find a willing trade partner to take on the $3.75 million cap hit that is Matt Dumba. And then the Stars had to sweeten it with a 2028 second-round pick. This comes from Dallas Stars Communications. Dallas Stars general manager Jim Nill announced today that the club had acquired defenseman Vladislav Kolyachonok from Pittsburgh in exchange for defenseman Matt Dumba and a 2028 second-round pick. I apologize if I butchered that name. We'll talk about Kolyachonok a bit more as well. He's 24 years of age. He split the 2024-25 campaign between Pittsburgh and Utah, skated in a total of 35 regular season games and recorded 7 points, 2 goals, and 5 assists. He appeared in 74 career NHL contests with 3 teams, Arizona, Utah, and Pittsburgh, and recorded 14 points and 18 penalty minutes. He's 6'2", 195 pounds. He's from Minsk, Belarus, was originally selected by the Florida Panthers in the second round, 52nd overall of the 2019 NHL draft. So that is a little background of Kolyachonok, who will more than likely be playing with the Texas Stars next season. This was a good move by Dallas for a number of reasons. Number one, they were able to increase their cap space. They are now a net positive instead of being negative after July 1st, and what they were able to accomplish with Radek Faksa and Colin Blackwell. So this gets them into the green now, and it gets a defenseman off the roster and will allow for Lian Bichsel and Niels Lundqvist to elevate into that position. Also, if you need to use Alexander Petrovic once again next season, let's just say he's going to be on the opening night roster, you trust him already as it is, and Petrovic is a much, much cheaper option and probably better than Matt Dumba at this point in his career. So this was a good move by Dallas, not because of what they had to send to Pittsburgh. Look, it's not great. Would we have liked them to throw a third or fourth round pick on that as a sweetener? Of course, I'm sure they tried that, but this sort of goes back to the conversations we've had here over the offseason. You have to find a willing trade partner to take on whether it was going to be Lyubushkin or Matt Dumba, and you're probably going to have to give a steeper price or give up a steeper price than you would want in order for a team like Pittsburgh to take on the contract that is Matt Dumba. And obviously Pittsburgh was willing to do that. It was reported by Elliot Friedman as well. There was a bit of a delay in the deal because they still had to notify Dumba and Kolyachonok of the deal, but it has all now gone through, and it looks like the deal is done. It has been, of course, tweeted out by the Stars as well that they have completed this deal. They put a thank you out to Matt Dumba as well. So a bit of a short-lived legacy for Matt Dumba. And for those of you curious on what I gave Matt Dumba in his season grade, you can go to yesterday's episode. We broke down his 2024-25 campaign, his only season as a Dallas Star. I won't spoil my letter grade for you there. He's the first player we break down on yesterday's episode. So the Stars acquired more cap space, as I mentioned. They now have $1,955,000 of cap space, just north of that, which is in the green. Again, it's not like they're going to be able to make any more moves this offseason, or they could, but it's not like they can make any drastic moves, is what I was trying to get at. They're not going to be able to go out and make a big signing. Unless perhaps they are willing to deal Jason Robertson. That is a name that has popped up here a bit more recently after some rumors early on in the offseason that the Stars may be shopping him. That is a question now being posed again. And I wanted to make this point. I don't think I've made it yet here on Locked On Stars. I don't really see any drastic changes to this roster coming unless there is a deal with Jason Robertson, because it feels like that is the only piece they could move in a trade that is going to significantly change this roster and could potentially bring in a top 4 defenseman or a young winger with some upside, right? I think that's the only way the Stars are going to make a drastic change to this roster. This is a move that was needed, however. First off, they just needed to get in the net positive in terms of cap space, and they had plenty of defensemen on the roster. So now they have Miro, they have Lindell, they have Harley, Labushkin, Lundqvist, Pitchell, and Petrovic. So that's 7 they now have on the roster. Lundqvist, I would suspect, with a new coach now, is going to be elevated in the lineup. Bischel, I think it's safe to say he has been a welcomed visitor or a welcomed addition to the dressing room as well. And more than likely, he'll be playing a full 82 next season in the NHL, unless for some reason the Stars go out and are able to acquire another defenseman and they feel that he could use some more development in the AHL. But it looks like for now Bischel will be staying. So I think this is just a solid move because it gets the distraction out of the way too. It allows for Gulutzan not to feel like, well, we're paying this guy $3.75 million a year. I know that shouldn't factor into whether they should crack the lineup or not, but let's not be naive here. Coaches everywhere throughout the league will always side with veterans and put them in the lineup. And, you know, Dumba played in 63 regular season games last year, but we all know he did not make an appearance in the playoffs. He was of no help. And the Stars desperately needed to get him out. Now, this really irritates me to some degree because then the Stars went out and signed a Radek Faksa. And this is not a disrespect to Faksa and who he is as a player, but paying Faksa for $2 million over the next 3 years. Now that's $2 million you could have added, and they could have just less than $3 million. And there is a lot more production or value they could go out and find on the free agent market with the cap space they could have potentially if they did not sign Radek Faksa, who they already had at home. That is where my gripe is with Radek Faksa. He's a fine player. I will be more than happy to watch him play next season. But you have like 3 Radek Faksas at home. You have Sam Steele. You have Oscar Beck, who we kept hearing was a poor man's Radek Faksa, right? You have Colin Blackwell, who you signed on July 1st as well. This is why these contracts matter and why when people complain, myself or others complain, that this $2 million isn't just nothing. Like, it really matters. And we talked about this a bit with the Florida Panthers. The reason the Florida Panthers are winning Stanley Cups and having such good rosters is not because of the no state income tax. It helps, sure. I'm not naive to that. No, it's because they find players like Nate Schmidt, who had 14 points or whatever it was during the Stanley Cup playoffs on a one-year deal for $800,000. That is why they're winning Stanley Cups. And that's why contracts like Radek Faksa can really, really actually hinder the Stars moving forward, or they can hinder what moves they can make here in the future. Now that they were finally able to actually unload the Dumba contract, they could have a little more cash in the pocket to go out and maybe find a better player that is can maybe actually fit in on your middle six and not as just a fourth line center iceman. And we already know what Radek Faksa is, right? Like that's where some of my gripe comes. It's not Faksa the player. Like, he's a fine player. And again, it's not horrible, but I think there are just other things the Stars could have done with the funds that they now have, but really don't because of moves like Faksa and others. But let's talk about Kolyachonok a bit more, give you a breakdown on him, who the Stars did acquire in this deal with the Pittsburgh Penguins. We'll do that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. It becomes so much easier to manage your day-to-day when you have an app like Monarch Money. You can learn where you can cut back. You realize just how much you're spending on entertainment or maybe eating out. You can cut back, track your shared and personal accounts with your partner, stay on the same page, and dream big. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNHL for half off your first year. Just to go over the details one more time of the transaction, the Dallas Stars traded Matt Dumba and a 2028 second-round pick to the Pittsburgh Penguins in exchange for Vladislav Kolyachonok. I really apologize if I'm messing up that name as well. More importantly, Kolyachonok, his cap hit is $775,000. That's why it's also a good deal for the Stars. It's just cheap. He has now been added to the roster of the Texas Stars. So that in itself is a good move. And you get a young defenseman. Look, is he going to crack the Stars lineup next year? No. Probably not, but still a young defenseman who is still learning the game and finding himself in North America. As I said earlier, 24 years of old. He's from Belarus. This comes from elite prospects, a speedy and very mobile two-way defenseman, plays a consistent game and can be trusted in most situations, plays the body and reads the game fairly well in his own end. This is from elite prospects, was the 52nd overall pick by the Florida Panthers in 2019. He played in the OHL for a handful of seasons, played with the London Knights for a game in the Flint Firebirds. He was also part of the U18 team Belarus, U20s and U18s for a while. Then he came up through the ranks with the Arizona Coyotes, in the AHL, the Syracuse Crunch, and then eventually made his NHL debut with the Arizona Coyotes in 2021. 22, actually played 32 games. He split time in the AHL as well. He played 33 games with the Tucson Roadrunners. And then last year he got a handful of games in the NHL with Utah and Pittsburgh. So he does have some service under his belt, which could potentially, who knows, maybe improve and grow into a player that at some point does crack the NHL roster here in Dallas. But this is what they got in exchange for Dumba and a second-round pick. And yes, it's not amazing, but as I stated earlier, the Stars had to throw in a sweetener to get the job done, and it's a second-round pick. So, look, Dumba's signing, and this sort of goes back to what I said. I feel like last season or last year, on July 1st, it wasn't a great signing from the jump, and the Stars had to retreat. And and come up with something to get his deal off the books. It wasn't a good deal from the day he inked the contract. And you could really say the same for Ilya Lyubushkin as well. And this also sort of goes back to the point I was making towards the end of this first segment. Like, it really matters. The reason the Stars were so, I guess, handcuffed this free agency was because of the Lyubushkin and Dumba deals. Also because of the way they were able to manipulate the LTIR with Miro and Tyler Seguin, right? They were able to acquire Rantanen. They were always going to have to sort of come back to reality, come back to earth, right? Because they were able to manipulate the cap because of Miro Heiskanen's injury last season. So they were always going to have to come back to earth. But, the $7 million combined with Lyubushkin and right, that's a lot of money that the Stars could use to, sign Jason Robertson or for Thomas Harley for next season, or they could have gone after an Aaron Ekblad, or they could go after another right shot defenseman, whoever could potentially be out there. Doesn't look like that would have been in the cards anyways, after kind of what we saw transpire about a week ago. Really, every good player that seemed to be out there was sort of signed before July 1st. Team just got it done, and they signed these players. So it wasn't a great contract from the date was inked, and the Stars had to deal with it, but they're able to get it done. And the Stars acquire a young prospect in a defenseman. The official pronunciation is Kolyachonok, which I think I was kind of going with. I was going, Kolyachonok. Not really. I was saying Kolyachonok, so it's Kolyachonok. So I apologize for the butchering of that, but we got it correct now. So Kolyachonok is joining the Dallas Star, and it's it's kind of an admission of defeat by the Stars front office at a misstep there. So that's some more information on Kolyachonok, who looks like he will be playing in the AHL next season with the Texas Stars. Now I'm just really curious with Dumba off the roster, just looking at the pairings. It could be Miro, Lindell, Harley, Lyubushkin again. That could be your top four, and then you're rolling with Bichel Lundqvist as your bottom pair, and Petrovic is your seventh D-man who's in the press box. And you could always put Petrovic with Bichel, right? If Niels is having growing pains again, or for whatever reason, if it's not working, you have Petrovic there who can step in and play alongside Liam Bichel, who we already know is a pairing that works and looked very comfortable and played very solid for the Dallas Stars in the Stanley Cup playoffs. It just feels like Harley and Lyubushkin are to play together. It seems like Lindell and Miro would play together. I know it wouldn't get Miro on his strong side, but at this point, the Stars don't really have an option unless, for whatever reason, let's say Petrovic plays with Miro, and then you could have Lindell with Lyubushkin, and then you could, or maybe Harley, Lyubushkin again. So that'd be your top four: Miro, Petrovic, Harley, Lyubushkin, and then Lindell plays with Lundqvist, who potentially could play together or have played together, I should say. And then kind of Bichel is your odd man out. Just really curious to see what the pairings are going to look like. I would think the Stars are going into next season. It's Miro and Lindell, which I think is a great pairing. And we've talked about this just recently with some of our season grades. The Stars need to pair Esa Lindell with a puck mover. So you have Miro Heiskanen. I know we've made a big deal out of the playing on a strong side. At this point, who cares? The Stars just need to be good. The Stars just need a pairing and some pairings that are just productive, and can really, I guess, enhance each other's strengths. So if I'm the Stars going to next season, I'm going Miro, Esa. I'll do Harley, Lyubushkin again. It wasn't awful. And then I'd have Niels and Bischel, and then Petrovic, whatever rotation you kind of want to do there, and work that out. So, really, really, really fascinating stuff. The Stars are going to have to work with next season in terms of their blue line. It's not any better than it was. We get that. But again, I don't think there's really going to be any drastic changes unless the Stars are able to make a move that includes Jason Robertson. Okay, I did want to touch on some breaking news of last week. The Stars did hire an AHL head coach, the Texas Stars, Toby Peterson, former Dallas Star, and they did get a deal done with Antonio Stranges as well. So we'll touch on those new gatherings as of last week in just a moment. With the promotion of Neil Graham to be an assistant coach with the Dallas Stars, the search was on for a new bench boss for the Texas Stars. And last week, the Stars appoint Toby Peterson as the Texas Stars head coach. He worked the last 2 seasons with the Colorado Avalanche as a skills coach, where he worked to enhance and maximize the development of Avalanche and Colorado Eagles players. Jim Nill announced on July 7th, he has appointed Toby Peterson as head coach of the Texas Stars, the Dallas Stars affiliate in the AHL. Quote says, "We are pleased to name Toby as the head coach of the Texas Stars," Nill said. Toby brings over 22 years of professional hockey experience to the Stars bench. He's been successful as a player in both the NHL and AHL and has held coaching positions in both leagues. Toby understands what it takes to build and develop a championship caliber team, as he has been part of winning a Calder Cup as a player and a coach. Additionally, his familiarity with our organization is invaluable and will no doubt help us continue the culture that he has established in Cedar Park. As I said, he spent the last 2 seasons with the Colorado Avalanche as a skills coach. From 2014 to 2020, Peterson spent 6 seasons as an assistant coach in the AHL with Springfield, Lake Erie, the Cleveland Monsters, and the Rochester Americans. During the 2016 Calder Cup playoffs, Peterson helped guide the Lake Erie Monsters to a 15-2 playoff record, overseeing a power play with a 24.2% success rate on their way to winning the Cup. He says here, "I am honored to be named the next head coach of the Texas Stars. It's extremely exciting for me and my family to return to Texas, reconnect with the city of Cedar Park, and rejoin the Stars organization. My priority as head coach will be a commitment to a process of proper development, ensuring we have a strong foundation in place that consistently puts our team in a position to win. I look forward to building upon the established high-performing culture of the Texas Stars." He will join Travis Morin, Max Fortunis, Ryan Daniels, and Josh Johnson as they will return to the team and join Peterson's coaching staff. He spent 7 years in the Stars organization as well. For those of you that remember, a member of the Dallas Stars from 2007 to 13 and the Texas Stars from 2012 to 14, appeared in 243 regular season games, tallied 40 points, and skated in 16 postseason contests. During his time in Texas, Peterson served as an alternate captain and was part of the 2014 Calder Cup winning team. He appeared in 108 regular season games with Texas and tallied 36 points. So there you go. He's a native of Bloomington, Minnesota as well. So another Minnesotan behind the bench for the Dallas Stars. Some interesting stuff too. He played at Colorado College, powerhouse in the NCAA game. Well, used to be not as much anymore. Hopefully they can get back to it a bit, but it was certainly a powerhouse. So there you go. That was something the Stars were able to get done last week. And then just a few days ago, Antonio Stranges signs a 1-year, $775K deal with the Dallas Stars. He's 23. I think this is a great deal for the Dallas Stars and the Texas Stars. Stranges, by the way, he has that really kind of unique skating stride that we touch. He's kind of like that 10-2, the way he moves. So really, really unique. Stars are able to get that done. He's a former London Knight as well. He had 43 points in 55 games with the Texas Stars this past season. He had 3 points in 9 playoff games. So he's played 55 games the last 2 years with Texas. The Stars were able to get him done. And there is still some hope that at some point, maybe he could crack the NHL some days. Really interesting, plays with a lot of spirit, a lot of energy. He's a really, really fun watch for those of you that have not been able to watch him. So the Stars are able to keep some depth on the Texas Stars as well. So that was another important piece of business the Dallas Stars were able to get done this past week. And yeah, I wanted to clean up some of that as we did have some breaking news. I planned on doing the final episode of our season grades of our defensemen. We just had 3 more to get through, and then this sort of happened. So it gave us something else to discuss here this week. So we'll finish off the week tomorrow with an episode of our season grades. It'll be the finale. It'll be the grand finale. We got Lundqvist, Bichel, and Petrovic. Although there won't be a ton to talk about with Petrovic, just because he really didn't make a large impact during the regular season, at least. But we're going to give him his due. We're going to give him a fair grade for what he achieved during the Stanley Cup playoffs, which is pretty freaking awesome, by the way. So stay tuned for some of my grades on those 3 as well. Oh, well, maybe we'll throw Ottinger and DeSmith in there as well. Yeah, we got to do that. Can't forget about the goalies. So we'll kind of maybe combine some. We'll do the defensemen, finish out the final 3, and then we got to talk about Casey DeSmith and Jake Ottinger. So I'm sure Otter will be the hottest of them all. Maybe we'll start with Otter, since I'm sure there's going to be a lot of opinions on that one. So yeah, we're definitely going to do that. Alrighty, Stars fans, that'll do it. But yes, Stars trade defenseman Matt Dumba, 2028 second-round pick to the Pittsburg Penguins in exchange for Kolyachonok, I believe. Sorry if I butchered that. We're going to get that one in the wheelhouse as well. But that's we'll do it for today's Thursday edition of Locked On Stars. As always, thank you so much for the love and support. Have a great rest of your day, Stars fans, and we'll see you tomorrow to kick you off into the weekend. So long.